take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm tryna do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Yes sir. I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they said. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Can't be a real nigga, might get you canceled. Fuck the whole system, need the shit dismantled. Coppers treat a nigga like the utmost wanted. Tryna rule the block, but don't know what goes on it. News got a story with a new take on me. Carrying out the window with the screw face on me. But I know that God love me when my blunt burn. 95 degrees and I can't get sunburn. Wonder when your government will make me legal. Burn the whole city if I can't be equal. Get off my dick, please, Brad, I earned that. 400 years, how you still ain't learned that? I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm tryna do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Yes sir. I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they said. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Shout out to the crackers trying to gentrify the genre. Tell them free my niggas, middle finger to your honor. In the days coming down the seconds on the timer. Goofy niggas still trying to purchase that designer. About to buy a chopper, learn to grow my own food. Cause I don't like the look they give me in the Whole Foods. And when you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. But it ain't on me now, I'm limping cause my dick heavy. But ain't shit sweet, niggas think we thin. My whole attitude on MC Ren. It's my neighborhood now, Bob, I bought that. 400 years, how you still ain't caught that? I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm tryna do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Yes sir. I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they said. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the LANCESCURV Show podcast. I am your host, LANCESCURV. And no, I have not lost my mind with the title of the show being Are Telepathic Attacks the Reason for These Ever-Increasing Violent Outbursts? We're living in a whole different world right now than we lived in before. Nobody could doubt that or go against our mind that way and say that something's wrong and not deal with the whole situation. I mean, people say that we have more access to news, therefore we're going to hear more because news travels all over the world, but it just doesn't seem right. You see, when they say that all boats rise when the tides rise, it's the same thing. It's a certain level to me of collective madness that we haven't seen ever. And as far as I'm concerned, call me a conspiracy theorist if you want. Years ago, people called me that for things that I spoke about, and they're not calling me that as much. So I'm going to play one little clip here that it's a local thing in New York City. A friend of mine sent it to me, and this may be one isolated thing, but everywhere in the United States especially, you can say other places, but It's really, really, really off the chain. And I just don't understand it. But this is something local, and we've become acclimated to this. We've become used to it. And I don't know. Check it out.
This was a neighborhood person, and she always thought about the welfare of the block. Whenever she saw somebody doing wrong, she'd scold them, like, don't do that around here. You know,
Nothing.
she was based hard-working woman.
People on this corner in Bed-Stuy can't believe what happened to a beloved neighbor just after 11 a.m. Sunday morning. Police say a woman was stabbed to death in front of this bodega on Van Buren Street and Marcus Garvey Boulevard. A suspect is now in custody, according to police. Neighbors say the suspect is also someone well known in this neighborhood. As for a motive, everyone is perplexed.
The person that they're telling me did this, they had a relationship, but it was a long time ago. So I just don't know what insanity went into his mind to do something to end her life like that. You know, I'm really in trauma right now.
Neighbors say when the suspect stabbed the victim, one man chased the neighbor down the street and held him until police arrived. The victim, a woman said to be in her late 50s and a nurse, has a teenage son and has lived on Van Buren Street for more than 3 decades. Young and old can't believe what happened.
She has a son, very loving. She's a mother, a daughter, a neighbor. Like, nobody deserves something like that, honestly.
Wow. What do you say? Isolated incident or something that is a little bit too commonplace in our society. I say it's something a little too commonplace because I'm getting up there in age, but I'm telling you, we had things happening back in the 70s, and I say the 70s, I was born in the early 60s, but I can remember that time so well because your receptors are so cleaned off that you absorb things even faster before you become old and crusty with crusty terminals that won't receive the signals of righteousness. But back in that day, it wasn't because I was a child, because I was a young teenager, still a child, right? Legally. But I remember a time when things like this did happen, but they were far and few between. Far and few between. And I want to welcome everybody into the chat room. The names got past me, so I'm seeing everybody. But I want to say, Ellie, you putting it down. I'm going to have to make you come on this show tonight. And this is not going to be a very long one because I did intend on doing a repeat of last night, but I kind of fell out. So my body was talking to me and saying, hey, cool it tonight. But I did want to touch it, and I did want to bring it in, to touch on this because it was laid on my heart. Now, let me stop this here. Let me get rid of this. We can remove this, and I'll leave the title out. We can see it in full force. Okay, boom. Are telepathic attacks the reason for these ever-increasing violent outbursts? Yes, it adds on to it. We still have, and this is my opinion, y'all. I'm not saying that I know everything, but this is my opinion. My opinion, which is my personal fact, right? Whenever we say opinion, it's us being nice and politically correct. But I will say that these are my personal facts. Can I prove them as facts? No, I can't. But it's a gut feeling on a spiritual level that leads me and guides me, because we just can't go on what we see in so-called logic, right? We have to go on what we feel on the inside. And I do feel, like I said before, that many of the electronic devices that we have, the stimulants from watching social media and it really getting into our head, the food, the 5G towers, these signals that are floating around in the air that can basically cook our brains like a microwave oven, but don't. Maybe it does a little bit. But there's a lot going on around us, and we have not seen how it's incrementally increased over time. And we never really question the effects that it has on our mind. We never really question how these things mess with us. I remember before I left Orlando to come here to Accra, Ghana, that they made us go inside because of the C-19. And they said, well, you know, we're going to have to give you a curfew. And you had to be in by a certain time. You had to be in unless you had a job to go to or a job to come from or some type of medical situation, or if you were a first responder, you had the right to go out if you had to do first responder type stuff, right? So my thing is, why do we have to be in at a certain time if this virus was out there floating around 24/7? Did it make it better? Did it come out more at night? I remember, and this is me just throwing an idea out there, I remember when the towers, the 5G towers in Orlando and the Orlando surrounding areas, they were furiously putting these things up. And they didn't want you to see them. You saw them in the daytime, but for some reason, they wanted to keep most of the people off of the street using the scare of the C-19 to keep us off. And they made it into law that you just couldn't be wandering around the street. And why is that? You know, I remember 3 white folks coming around to my mother-in-law's house where we lived before we moved, after we sold our house. And they came by and they said, we just want to let you know, how do you feel about the 5G coming? And I said, well, listen, it's nothing good for us. I didn't go into detail, but they wanted to come around and get a pulse and a feel on how we felt about this thing being put in our neighborhoods. And they tried to act friendly, but you know that it was not a friendly thing. They wanted information. There's just too much going on right now for me. When you think about the birds that they find dead all at one time, they just drop out of the sky. You see the fish that are dead sometimes, and I couldn't tell you where. We see these things online. Those are experiments. When we had the Popeyes chicken burger and how black folks went crazy over it, these are experiments going on us, and they will say, well, it's not just black people, it's everybody else. The aim at the end of the day is our total extermination off the face of the earth. Tuskegee experiment. Come on, can you deny that? This thing happening now with the C-19, can we deny that? They give you this thing and they say you have to have booster shots. And I'm asking a question. I'm not even giving medical advice. So if they want to shoot me down or shoot this channel down, go ahead. I'm asking a question. That's all I'm doing. What good has it done? It's messed us up. So with the US government, and I'm calling them out, it's a little bit of a trek for them to come over here and get me, right? But I don't trust them. And I understand how the world leaders, whether we know them or not, they say, well, Putin is not thinking about this, or Biden is not. Look, those are what you see on the surface. There are leaders, there are influences, there are entities behind these so-called leaders who are the faceplate of a wicked system. You see them and they're the fall guy. They're not the ones making the decision. If you are here in the year 2022 and you don't understand that, you're lost. Go back, skip a few grades back and catch up on it. They're not going to tell you what they're doing, right? There's a lot of tension across the land. There's a lot of stress across the land. If one thing doesn't get you, another, Ellie, it's definitely there. I just took a peek down there. You got to put LANCESCURV, like the way it is above my head. Just put, not the LANCESCURV show, but just LANCESCURV, and it should pop up. And if it doesn't, they got some problems coming from me because my stuff is in bootleg. But there's a lot of what we're feeling as a people, and my focus is on our people because we know this world is wicked anyway, that we're not reacting the way, even though we should not be reacting, we're reacting in some really bizarre ways. Look at the brother there. What's his name? James Frank, who shot up the people in the subway in New York City. These are bizarre things that are happening. Now, is it all telepathic attacks? No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, a lot of us have mental issues that might be mental issues, and it may not be mental issues. We all have a threshold. We all have a limit on how much we can take. Everybody does before they snap. And there are things put into place that will push us to those lines of danger that we're not supposed to cross if we don't get help or we don't realize what it is. We're eating in a way where we're stripping ourselves of nutrition. They're giving us these GMO foods. We forget about that. I mean, I'm living in a place now where you can't find anything GMO, and I don't want to find anything GMO as far as the fruits and things that grow so abundantly here. But what effect does it have on us when we eat fruits and vegetables and there's no nutrition there? There's no proper nutrition. There's calories in it, but there's no proper nutrition. What effect over time does that have on us? How does it set us up to have a weaker mind that they can permeate into our head, voices in our head, different electronic things shot to control our thoughts? Don't think they don't have that. Look back in the day when you had Dick Tracy and they had the watch that you can look at, you can talk to, and you look at it now. And things have accelerated so much faster that we think that technology is only at a certain level. Technology, as far as what the government has and the governments of the world have advanced so much more over and above, while we hold our cell phones and feel so good about it because we're so bedazzled by this little thing in our hand that connects us to a world that really is engineered for us. We're so distracted and we don't realize what's going on. You know, we do have spiritual warfare and we do have spiritual attacks, but then again, there are also telepathic attacks, because the greatest weapon for any revolutionary is their mind. And no matter how you are on a spiritual level, if they attack your mind and control your mind and corral your mind over and over, where you're skipping, you can't get past a certain point. You ever feel that way sometime? You're on a day off, you have some things you want to do a little laundry, you want to clean up, but it just seems like you can't get out of the house to do the things that you want to do, and you're frustrated. What do you think that is? And there are other times when it's no problem. When you meditate and you get to know yourself really deep, you begin to have a sense of who you are and you know yourself. And there are other things that you'll say to yourself that, listen, that didn't come from me. That didn't come from me. I have on my iPhone, I don't think you can see it, I have the actual chat room here. I'm going to hold it up, right? And I don't have a button at the bottom, right? This is an iPhone 10. There's a floating button here. You can see it. You see right there? See how it moves? Right? Look at that. See? It moves. I could hit that and have options of where to go to put the lights on and stuff. If not, it goes down. I had that installed because this particular one doesn't have that iPhone button at the bottom that you can click. Now, that floats. Why is it that when I go to my phone, and this is something I've noticed a lot, we have our apps. Let me just take off and show you the different apps I have. I have all kind of apps on my phone, right? And this gnat won't leave my nose alone. Yeah, you see? So whenever I look to hit an app, this particular floating home button is already there where I want to go. This is 90% of the time. 90% of the time when there's a particular app that I want to open up, that home button is hovering over it, like it knew where I wanted to go with that. What is that? I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm not going crazy. I'm just telling you what I see. We're so connected in the worst ways, where they have the GPS thing. Your friends on Facebook know where you are. So-and-so is 10 minutes away or 3 miles away. We're so connected that these things are on, and we have to purposely cut these things off. We are being tracked, not only just that, watched, just like over in China, where they have so many hundreds of thousands of cameras watching everybody. And through their cell phones, they're being tracked. Why? Is this something human? We're not dealing with something human. We're not dealing with something of this world. The governments may put these things in place, but I feel, in my opinion, my personal fact, that there are things otherworldly that are watching us, demonic, evil, whatever you want to call it, and they don't have a good thing for us. You see what I mean? It's not a good thing they're doing, all right? And they shroud it in necessity, where, oh, we have to have this. We have to have this for safety. This is, good for you. It reminds me of the episode of The Twilight Zone where they had aliens, like I spoke about it before, where they had these big head aliens come down in a spaceship. Everybody was scared, but they reached out to them and they got a connection. And these aliens said that they wanted to help the people of the earth. let's just make this up. I don't know if they had diabetes back then, diabetes, cancer, whatever. If this was the modern day, they say, hey, we got the cure for AIDS, herpes, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, whatever. And they were like so overjoyed. They were so happy. Like, oh my God, these aliens have come down from another planet and they've come down to help us. And one of the men that started that particular episode found himself on the spaceship. And he found the book that they have, because they said the aliens were saying, we want to serve you. We come here to serve you. And that was the truth. They came here to serve man. And when he got inside the spaceship and actually looked inside the book, he came outside hysterical and let them know there was some kind of press conference, I think, was going on. And everybody was giving up all this hoopla for these aliens, how they're serving man, right? And he said, no, to serve man. It's not to serve us. It's a cookbook. That was a cookbook. They were fattening them up for the kill. They were curing all these diseases because they wanted to eat humans. I'm not saying there's some conspiracy now where there's an entity that wants to eat us in that type of sense, and I wouldn't doubt it either. But there's definitely something pulling at every fiber of our being in this society today that makes us do the things that we do. Why? Why? Is this some kind of experiment? Is this some kind of thing to wipe us off the face of the earth? Well, slowly but surely, we're killing each other. You know, demonic it was up in Buffalo, New York. We understand that, right? That's what they have an agenda for us. But more so than that, we're doing things to each other, just like in this clip where we had that man stab up that woman. They had a relationship years ago. It couldn't have been that bad for him to walk up to her and do that. And we're going to see more and more of these things go on. And when you think about these substances that we put in our body because of what is going on and around, so they say, I feel they put it out there to make us take those things. Those things are going to react with the 5G towers, with the atmosphere, with whatever they shoot back and forth. They have a thing called targeted individuals, and I do believe that there are targeted individuals. What I don't feel is that everybody who claims to be that is that, okay? There are a couple of people that I've spoken to on Twitter and on Facebook and Instagram that want to come on and speak about these things. I've done it before in the past, and I've left the work up, but sometimes it goes off the deep end where kind of losing you, dude. Like, okay, this makes sense. But then again, none of it is supposed to make sense for us, right? And I would like to speak with people who are in the know, who used to work for the government or had positions where they were in a certain proximity to be privy to certain knowledge, because there are things out there. Look at it this way. The U.S. government denied for so long that of the presence of UFOs. And just recently, what was it? The House of Representatives, someone, some group, some body in the government had not a press conference, but they had a discussion about it, confirming that there were over 400 confirmed sightings of something that was an unidentified flying object. But I mean, they call it something different now, but we called it UFOs back in the day. And it took them that long to say this, right, and to share this. And they were predicting that, was it last year or the year before? I think it was last year, or maybe even 2020, that they were going to reveal that these things were real. Now, maybe it's a year or two behind, but does it really take a rocket scientist to understand that? What I'm getting at is that there's so many things in this world that are going on that we have no clue about because we're in our phone. We're in our phone, just down in the phone. And what we see, we get so sucked into. I ain't going to lie. Today, earlier, I was preparing for the show with Brother I Just Stars. And again, make sure to go to his channel and subscribe. But after I was done with that, I had to run to the store to pick up some things. It was about to close up. And I came back and I just sat down. The phone rang a couple of times. While I was on the phone, I clicked on a few things I saw in the sidebar. Now, back in the day when I was single digit ages, up until about maybe 11 or 12, I was heavy into comic books, and I loved them because it didn't teach me to draw, but it guided me by what I saw. I said, okay, I can do this way. It taught me anatomy. It taught me a whole lot of other things, the visuals and everything, right? And so I saw some Incredible Hulk, you know, the Mighty Thor, and these Marvel movies that they have out that I really haven't seen. Most of my friends that used to collect comic books with me, they went to see them, and I just never got back into that. But I said, let me see how these computer-generated graphics work. And so the older Hulk versions, not the one Lou Ferrigno, but after the year 2000, was pretty good. But the more that it got more and more recent, these graphics were like, they were like so believable. Like, wow, they got the mannerisms and everything down. You know, we have, oh God, what do you call it now? Come on now, I need your help. I got to get back in the chat room. Holograms. We have these holograms now where they can project a 3D image right in front of you that you can pretty much walk around and see, and it looks real, right? So, you know, we've said it in the comment sections before and in the chat room, but we've always felt that they're going to orchestrate a rapture and have Jesus, the form of Jesus, come through the sky like this is the rapture. And do you know how many people will see that and kill themselves or jump around and flop around crazy? You know, who feel guilty that they've been sinning, and all of a sudden this true Jesus came back and he busts through the clouds with great power. And oh my God, I've been sinning. You caught me in sin, because he comes like a thief in the night. I feel they're going to use this type of technology, and also with the whole UFO thing. How do we know the UFOs are real? Are they just getting our mind ready and saying this officially, and they have holograms ready? All I'm saying is that our mind, we're going to believe things. Telepathic attacks don't mean that it's some government shooting a beam into your head to make you do something. It's the manipulation of our mind on a telepathic level to make us believe things that will have us react in a certain way. And how much control do we have over our mind? When you get up in the morning, I'm not saying you or anybody here, I'm just speaking that way because I'm on a roll now. When you get up in the morning, the first thing you grab for is this phone and Facebook, and you start seeing what people post. And it's almost like, and I'm not calling anybody a maggot, but I'm saying we're crawling over each other's content, watching each other, reacting to each other, but we're not really looking at the world outside that is beyond that. Automatically, when we get into these things, it closes our mind. And my fight when I wake up in the morning time is to keep my mind to myself. Right now, for me, when I go to bed, if I go to bed 4 o'clock in the morning, I am not getting up out that bed until 12 noon. Whatever time I go to bed, I stay in that bed, because even a lack of sleep makes it easier for these things to get in our head. So we got to be on point with ourselves 24/7. We think we can get away with this, and we think we can get away with that. And we open ourselves to be attacked on a mental level, mind control, where we become zombies. We can be very intelligent zombies. We can be people who react with each other and they say, "Good morning, how are you doing today?" "Oh, I'm quite fine." We go through the whole movement of normalcy, not realizing that we're probably working with 15% of our right mind. We have more depression. We have more suicidal situations going on. How about that woman who was a lawyer in the Manhattan, was it on 42nd Street? She jumped out the window and killed herself. Some people say she was murdered. Maybe it was mental illness. I think she had too much to live for, and there was no need for her to do something like that. What caused that? What are the factors working on our mental that make it easier for us to go in on something without something external happening? The US government is not going to tell you all that they're doing. They're not. How is it that that home button on my phone is always there hovering over what I want to hit? I don't need that in a way. I usually have to move it out the way. Well, how is it always there? When I wake up in the morning time, when I think of something, it's going to be right there. Don't be afraid that the world's going to call you cuckoo or crazy when you notice these things. Just understand that they're not vibrating on the same level that you are. And it's a very lonely walk when you have that high vibration. There are many people out here who feign the high vibration and will act as though they're vibrating high, but they're only plagiarizing the words or thoughts of other people. And they mask themselves with the wicked spirits that they have to come mess you up. There are many people out here who are sellouts that don't like your light, and you'll be a victim of this, or they'll attempt to come and do things to you and control your mind because they know you have a righteous destiny. They know you have something in your life that you have to do. When I say dark spirits, I don't mean dark like your skin, and I'm saying like white supremacy would have us say all things dark are bad. I mean just the darker spirits that are out there, that jump from person to person, that try to get in you, tempt you to do things to open you for these telepathic attacks. You might be struggling with some kind of addiction. You might be struggling with some kind of low self-esteem, and it gets to you to a point where either you take it out on yourself with substances or you lash out on other people. Me personally, I'm one of them lash out dudes. And I've controlled myself in many situations. And I've been pushed in this society, especially when I was living in America. It's like they want to push you to do something. It's like there's some power out there that you can work 2 jobs, but yet and still you're just going to have just enough money. And when you get extra money in the mail that you didn't expect, here comes a bill to wipe it away. Oh man, I got a $600 check. But then here comes another bill for $712 and you're scrounging again. What is it that keeps this wicked system in balance? Why can't we bust through it? Why? We got to reject everything that's given to us in it. That's what we have to do. But it's too sweet. It's too nice. It's too convenient to not go outside and look up at the sky and kind of tell if it's going to rain or not, but we can go on our phone and just hit this and hit that. We don't even know our bodies anymore. We walk up a flight of steps where we're not even connected with our bodies anymore. What happens if something jumps off and you need to run half a mile and hop over a 10-foot fence or wall, grab it and climb over? You can't even, we're so focused on this thing that we don't focus on the things to keep ourselves tight and ready. Our bodies are trash now. We done messed that up. And more on top of that, our minds are really, we got more give up in us than anything else. We got more quit in us than anything else, and we don't realize it. We talk a good game because we're amped up on what we see in social media, and we watch these movies and we feel like the tough guy. We feel like Rocky. We feel like Arnold Schwarzenegger. We watch the boxing matches. We know that we could have beat the guy when you have no training at all, but it's all in our head. And when it comes time to put boots to the field and pedal to the metal, we fail miserably. We're so amped up on fantasy. We're so amped up, and when we get into a situation, we get let down in a great way and realize what we're really made of. We need to get ourselves ready and reject a lot of these things that we know are bad for us, but it's just too sweet. One more time, let me look at the porn. One more time, let me go eat that chocolate cake. One more time, I can stay up late and not get any sleep. I'll sniff some coke and stay up all night and go right to work wide awake. We're tearing ourselves up. We're not living the way we're supposed to be living. And these entities out here have a technology that they can really, really do some things. That's why for me, I'm more and more living a hermit life. Not necessarily I want to be away from people, but when it's time for me to say, hey, there's something not right with me, let me pull away a little bit and nurse my wounds. You know, when you see these animals out in the so-called wild, it's not wild out there, it's perfect order out there, right? But when you see the animals out in the so-called wild, when they get sick, they pull themselves away. They pull themselves away from the rest of the other animals, and they go up in the mountains, they go up in the cave, go inside there, lick their wounds or just rest or whatever, come out a little bit, eat some grass until they're well again. Us in the society, we keep going and going and going and going until we snap. We keep ourselves going artificially. We don't realize that when we feel pains, that's our body's telling us something is wrong with our body. And we take something to make the pain go away, but the actual issue is still there. How dumb can we be? How stupid can we be? We've forgotten how to talk to our bodies and let our bodies talk to us. We forgot how to vibrate at our highest. We need sun. We need sleep. We need good nutrition. We need to stay away from certain people. Because on a psychic level, you can pick up their energy. Just like when you think sometimes of a person that you haven't talked to in 10 years, 5 years, or even a year, and the phone rings and you pick it up and it's them. And you thought about them and you sent a signal out and they picked it up and they were clear enough in their conscience to pick it up and call you. And you're so shocked. That happened to me the other day with my brother OG Houdini. That's not his real name, of course. That's a Facebook or Instagram moniker. But I thought about him, and then he called. I could not believe it. Oh, I'm sorry. I called him, right? Because there was another time that he called me. But this last time, I called him, and it floored him. He said he was just coming to the door with groceries. And he said, when I put these groceries down, I'm going to call Lance. Because we communicate all the time on social media, little memes, little words of certain things, whatever. But he said, let me get a call in, you know? And so that's what happened. So our minds are very powerful. Like they say, how much do they say we use? We use 5% or 15% of our mental capabilities. I think We use less than that. But imagine if they say 15% or 5%, imagine we use 25%. Imagine we use 50%. Oh, imagine if we used 100%. There are places in this world where they train you to use greater brain capacity, but you're going to have to let certain things go. I know for a fact that when I was doing bodybuilding years ago, and my mind was so focused, I was really, really in a place where I had tunnel vision. Like I didn't want to be bothered with anything else, no fluff, nothing that didn't have anything to do with me that day, maximizing my training and getting the best nutrition in my body and getting back to rest. Okay. The discipline was there big time. And I'm going to tell you, I'll say this in a decent way. Now, how do I say this in a decent way? I was so disciplined that I stayed away from certain things. Okay. I was so disciplined and focused in maximizing the power of my mind and my training that if there was a young lady around me before I went to train who was trying to get me to engage in certain things and actually started performing certain things, this is all you heard when it was time to go to the gym. Listen, it's time. And this is what you heard. Pop right out. I'm out. Are you crazy? Let me finish. No, finish later on, but not now. I'm going. Everything was, I shouldn't even have got that far anyway, right? Not to be lewd, but that's what it was. What is this with this YouTube, man? You know, show and hide. If you put a comment up and I didn't get a chance to, or you didn't see it, it was not me stopping it. Let me scroll up here. They got this show and hide thing, but the trolls can come on in. So if I miss it, look at that. Okay. Yeah, Amari, yeah, you got to be focused. Oyala's laughing on that one. I don't know if I have that kind of strength and discipline now, but I did back then. So I knew that your mind was very important. Like you can slow down the functions of your body. If you really think about it, you can go on less food. I learned that for a fact in training, and you're reducing your calories, and you got to be cool and not waste your energy and just push and still be strong. It's all a mind thing. You can do so much more when you have a focused mind. And so the goal of this world to destroy us as a people is to take our mind off of the righteous things and practices that we need to indulge in. That's the main goal of this thing here. And so it's a mental and a spiritual and also a physical battle. But the physical battle is easily won when we don't consume the foods that they give us to put in ourselves. You go and look at a label now. You see nothing but chemicals. I mean, look, it should be just 2 or 3 things in there. Whatever they say it's supposed to be, that's what it should be. Why all these long preserve this and this? It's like you're embalming yourself. And how do these chemicals work along with each other to turn into something new? And how does it affect your mind? You've got to get your sleep. Me, I was one who always stayed up and didn't get my sleep. And if I now relapse a little bit and don't get my sleep, I do that 8-hour thing. I'm not getting up until. Fanatical about it. Oh, it's 15. You got 15 more minutes. No, I'm not doing it. I'm going to lay here and zone out. That's what I do. But I prefer now to wake up very early. And you know, it's helped me so much because the chemicals in your brain, we work along with the sun, y'all. You can't cheat that connection, right? These little things I'm throwing at you so that when these telepathic attacks come, whether it's something from within or something external, which is there, strongholds. You ever think about that? When I first moved down to Orlando, there was a Native American cab driver that I ran into. And he was taking me, and this is before I actually moved, but I was going to a friend and former coworker who lived in Polk County, right? So he said, listen, I was coming down for my background investigation and the tour of the jail before I worked there because I knew I was going to get the job. I had a little inside connection. So I had to come down there before I actually moved to go through with these different parts of the background stuff. So in riding out from the airport out to Polk County, which was a little stretch, Highway 27, off of I-4, I'm always name dropping. he was telling me, he said, man, he says, something about you. There's a certain peace inside of you that I noticed. He was feeling me out. So I said, well, you know, I'm moving into a different junction point in my life, and I'm just deep in thought about what this means. And I told him, I said, listen, every time I ride on a plane, I always find a book, whether it's on the plane or in the airport, I find a book that tells me something. It shows me something. It's a divine thing. And it's not every single time, but 4 times when I've been on flights, I found pamphlets or I found books in the seat in front of me in the back, the little netted part that you pull out. Whose book is this? Taking this. And it's something that's given something to me. Because see, me personally, the way I am, I'm always looking out for signs. Like I see signs out there that other people don't see. Now, I'm not looking too hard and thinking up things and, oh, this means this and this means that. No, you know, you got to kind of pull back on that. But when I feel a sign hitting me, like, yeah, okay, this is guiding me. It's just like when you're on a highway and you're traveling from north to the south, I-95, and you start to see these different signs, and the exits get longer and longer, but the signs let you know you're going in the right direction. So for me, that's what that meant for me. So I was speaking to him about this, and he says, man, you seem to be deeply spiritual. What's your religion? I said, well, you know, I was raised in a Christian home to a point. My mother and my father said, okay, this is what it is, but this is what it really is. Okay, so we're not going to influence you any kind of way. It's very strange, not strange, but it was like, when I say Christian home, I really can't say that. It was that with the knowledge of so many other things. And that's why I am the way I am today, because I just can't subscribe to any one way. That's like me trying to go by your directions to get to a certain destination. How dumb would that be, right? And this is what I feel many people get in religion, and they miss the point. If I'm in California and you're in New York, and we are going to Texas, this is another spin on that little analogy I always use. If I'm in California and you're in New York City, and we both have to drive down to Texas, how stupid would it be for me to drive all the way up to New York City to go in your directions and come on back down to Texas? That makes no sense whatsoever. None whatsoever. So you have to go by your own directions as it comes to you. You can't be so quick to follow the ways of other people. If it works for them, it works for them. But you should not have to drive from California way across the country to come way back. Think of it that way. So as we search through these different religions and other people's ways of doing things, we might be wasting our time. It comes from within. It resonates from within you. So he began to tell me, the Native American cab driver, he was telling me, he says, listen, he says, I want to just throw something your way to make you aware of certain things, and maybe you might grasp it, maybe you wouldn't. He says, do you feel that strongholds are real over certain physical areas in the world? I said, of course. I said, I feel so. I said, look, let's be real. Look at Orlando and look at Atlanta. What strongholds do you have over Orlando with Disney and the rainbow, and over Atlanta, which certain things are everywhere, right? But they're concentrated in certain places even more so. And so he said, man, bingo. He says, you got it. You got it. He said, when you come here to Orlando, he said, there's something about it. When couples come to the married, it always seems to result in divorce. He said, there's a stronghold of divorce in the air. And he had his way of expressing it, but I knew exactly what he was trying to say. And it opened up my mind a bit to really look at not only like what's going on with the air that we breathe and the food that we eat, but what about what's going on the spiritual level and our own mental, the things we allow in our mind to affect itself, to cause us to think a certain way and lead us spiritually down the wrong path because we got something in our head that sounds good. So when you go to a lot of these churches or religious organizations, you have the charismatic speaker who's hitting your brain with these words. Pope Leo X, our brother who comes on frequently and drops his business wisdom on us, he said he was at a service one time and he vehemently resists the seductive words of any Christian pastor. But what he said was, he said, this joker was talking so good, even he began to believe or start to think like, well, maybe this guy is right. So we have all kind of demonic forces and demons out there. And I'm just saying that for verbal shorthand, but they are so good at what they do, they can seduce you into whatever they want to seduce you in if you give them your time. So, hey, telepathic attacks in the church house, where you get that person on the street that has that little pamphlet. I'm not knocking them for what they do, but you get those charismatic ones that just sway you like this, and you're blinded, and you're giving up all of this power out of your life and your money, and you're telling them your business, and they're all up in your marriage, all up in your household, all up in the business, and you got to go to this next man for a marriage counseling. He got his eye on your wife. He looking at them pretty big legs she got. He's like, Your wife told me what you ain't doing, but I'll do it because I want to get a little piece of that. Telepathic attacks, man. You find the life that you want so far away from coming to fruition, and you don't realize that you've been led down the wrong path. Is the life that you're living right now the life that you really want to live? Really and truly, when you really think about it, where you are now in 2022, think back 20 years if you're that old to think back 20 years of where you wanted to be. Where you are now, is that where you wanted to be? And I'm not just saying the physical country or state or city. That's irrelevant. But the way you react with life and deal with life and the kind of vibe you have and flow with life, are you where you wanted to be from years ago if you knew it? Maybe you didn't know it. Some of us don't even think about those things. I know where I want to see myself 10 years from now at the age of 69. I know where I want to be. And maybe I will beat that so much that I'll find myself there at the age of 62. I might find myself there next year. But we have to know. But how are we going to know when we have so much garbage in our head from all of the things that are put out that we suck up like pigs? Get your mind back to where it has to be. So many other things are dominating our mind that we're addicted to. And if we unclog that, or put your phone down for a day, just tell all the close people, listen, I'm not answering my phone. I'm going to turn the ringer off. I'm going to keep it on just in case you text me if there's an emergency. I'm going to check it 3 times a day, but I'm not picking up. If I see it ringing, I'm not picking up. If it's something of importance, you text it to me because I don't want to miss an emergency if I'm needed. It could be a matter of saving somebody's life. I'm going to check this thing 3 times, but I'm not doing the phone today. I'm not doing social media today. I'm not cutting the computers on. And when I go out, I'm going to leave the phone too. I'll check it when I get back. I'm going out and do something unpredictable, because just like this little home button that's on my phone that lands on top of the app that I want to get on, sometimes you got to be unpredictable. Sometimes you can't broadcast where you're going. Sometimes you have to leave your house and go somewhere where you don't even know where you're going. You put some money in your pocket, or make sure you got some money on your card, but keep some cash on you and head out. Where you going? I don't know. You jump on a bus, you jump on a commuter van and take it to the end and walk around. See, because I do believe we are targeted in certain ways with this technology that we don't really understand. My life is predictable, right? I'm home a lot. I'm inside a lot. I'm working on content, maybe not as intense as I did before, but I'm doing a little bit of stuff every single day. But I'm opening up the floodgates to enjoy more of life. Because if you keep yourself so focused on the stuff that has us mentally trapped, you're going to look around, you're going to be 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Whatever happens after 80, if you reached 80, you're blessed. But whatever happens after that, you're on your own. But if you're sitting down and giving this thing up, the control of your mind, where's it going to lead you? But that man taught me a lot that day about the things that he brought. It's not even like he just taught me something I didn't know. But sometimes people come into our lives to kind of give us a different angle on what we do know. So we have an appreciation for what we know, and we expand that. You see what I mean? It refreshes everything for us. I remember when I had my first bodybuilding trophy. And after a time, I was like, man, that thing looking old, man. When I put the new one next to it, the old one, the first one looked better. And that's the way it was. The more I accomplished, the more the first one and all the other ones subsequently that came after it look really good. So you have to keep new soil turning over in your life so you don't fall into a rut. You understand? And you have to take charge and fight against these telepathic attacks that are not just some tower shooting a ray into your head. I put it that way, but that's not really it. We walk right into these attacks. What happens when you're in an abusive relationship and you love the sex that this person is giving you and you do care for them, but it's hurting you because they come after you and put you down, right? Or it may not be a sexual thing. It may be a thing where you truly love them and they just continually put you down and wear you down and try to work on your self-esteem. I was speaking to somebody the other day and they were telling me how there's so many men out here who are so insecure that when their woman, their wife, their girlfriend or whatever wants to do better in life and say, hey, I want to get this degree. I want to take this course. I want to improve myself. And a lot of these guys, they go, oh, no. Stay home. It's okay. I'll take care of you. What man in his right mind would want to limit the growth of his woman? That makes him better because she was rising up to another occasion, another status, another level. That makes you better as a man. Well, my father taught me that. He told me, he said, the more your woman looks good, the more she feels good, and the more she has a smile on her face, that's testimony to what kind of man you are. See, so we can get telepathic attacks from the very people that we're with. It has nothing to do with the government then, right? Or some artificial something coming from a tower, because folks are going to run with that. But in our interpersonal relations, on your job, you can have telepathic attacks. If you see somebody and you don't really know the reason why you don't like them, they could be thinking something about you, negative, and smiling. Good morning. How are you? Good to see you. You damn bitch. You know what I mean? Sorry to curse, but they could be thinking that. And you feel it. It doesn't lie to you. So that's why you have to purge yourself of all of this electronic distractions so that you can receive the right signals to know how to navigate through these shark-infested waters called life. And I don't mean that it's all shark-infested and it's all bad, but we're so unarmed out here. We're so naked out here. We walk through, look, even me in my life, and there's that little gnat, he keeps teasing me like, you're not going to try to kill me. It's a little gnat, one gnat. And he's just parading around and like, look at this. Okay, I think I got him. A little tiny gnat trying to get in my eye. I had that happen to me one day in Florida. So a little gnat got my eye and I rubbed my eye and it broke in my little tiny, and the acid from the guts made my eye like somebody had beat me down. And when I went back to corrections the next day to work, I said, man, who beat you up? I said, no, nobody beat. It looked just like all red and swollen. That's why I hate them things, right? But they serve a purpose too. But again, you know, it's a funny call that we really have to sometimes take that walk by yourself. Get away from the familiar surroundings. Get away from the electricity and the air of your surroundings. Even you being by yourself in your home, you know, there's energy that's left there if you live with people. There's your own energy that may be toxic. You could be having your own telepathic attack on your own self by what you let in your mind. I firmly believe also that when you take walks out in nature or in a crowded city and you feel things, that there's energy left over from other incidents that happen, where if somebody was murdered in a particular spot, in the terror of maybe a slow death, stabbed to death, and they know they're dying, and they died in a spot, and it could have happened 15, 20, 60 years ago. And if you're sensitive enough, you might feel that trauma when you come into a certain home. That's why me personally right now, I'd have to live in a newly built home where there was no energy, anything there. Let me input and let me imprint my own energy into that place. But when you're going around these age-old cities, you don't know what kind of portals you're walking through. You can walk through something and not even know it. You're walking down the street just as normal, but you're walking through something that was burned in that particular area, and you pick up on it, and you average out with it, and you wonder why you're pissed off the next day. You wonder why you're angry, or you're really sad, or you're really depressed. It's not sometimes, most of the time, it's not even you. It's what rubbed off on you. There are people who are so negative sometimes, they get around you and they may have an issue now, legitimately, but you have to make sure you can't allow your tanks of hope and positivity to be so drained, because they walk away with it and you're left with nothing. And with these telepathic attacks that go on from draining us in social media and on TV and how we perceive the world, we find ourselves suicidal. These things jump. These spirits jump. That's the way it works. So all I want you to do is just be aware of that world that we don't see. That's very much there. And people say, oh, you're talking quackery. I see the guy over there. I see this. There's nothing going on like that. But listen, you believe in the unseen so much that you pay for it every month. What am I talking about? That Wi-Fi signal, that cell phone. How does the cell phone work? It's not attached to the wire. The only reason why my phone is attached to the wire is because I'm keeping it charged when I pull it off and I go lay down and put it near me. If I need to go and wow, I just saw the chat room. I wasn't really looking at it, but you said Lance, a crow knocked on my door today, not even playing. That means something. It may not mean something like, oh, I'm going to die, or, you know, but it's something. Something strange happens to you like that or out of the ordinary. Take heed and watch everything. That's all I'm saying. Watch everything. You know, you got to watch everything. I'm just looking at these comments because I've been rambling for the last, what? 56 minutes? I'm a talking fool. Man, I didn't know. I thought I was just talking for 20 minutes. I'm like, 56 minutes. All right, y'all, show's over. Bye. No, I'm going to rant on a little bit. This is true. I got to remember not to allow myself to fall into negativity because negativity is out there big time. Trust me, it's out there. It's like a fog. It's like a smog. But then again, there's lots of positivity. And when you cultivate this positivity into your everyday way of life and thinking, then you can defeat that thing. Because you see, the bottom line is that they're positive and negative. The negative is there eating at us all day long. When you drive your car, that needle is going down, 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 down. So it's up to you to keep it topped off. You got to look at it that way. If you're not aware of the world, the unseen world around you and how to navigate and how to read these signals, you're toast. And like I said, some of us will deny that, but we believe in this Wi-Fi signal. My Wi-Fi tower and my mobile Wi-Fi that's right there is not connected to anything. It's going through the air. If I walk a little bit down the hallway or into the next room, I still get the signal. The signal's unseen, but it's very much real, where you can download things. Everything that man makes is a copy off of nature. When you see the construction equipment and things that they move, the levers, and it scoops up dirt and it's big. You ever see the claws of a lobster? You ever see things in nature? They copy that because of the perfection of nature. They didn't come up with these things. So when now you see a Wi-Fi signal, what do you think that's a copy off of? You know, when you look at somebody who's a stranger or somebody who you know real well, and you get that first glimpse in their eye, you know if something's wrong. They don't have to tell you anything. They can't know nothing's wrong, nothing's wrong. You keep asking, they break down crying. They're like, listen, I'm going to tell you what's really happening. Because you know, that gut feeling that you have will never lie to you, but you have to cultivate it by being still, keeping away the negative things, even when the negative things can be kind of sweet. Come on, fellas. We all know that pretty young thing that wants to keep coming around us. I'm not saying the pretty young thing is bad. I'm not saying women are bad. Women are good. It's the greatest creation that the Creator ever made for man, and us, hopefully, for that woman. But if you have a weakness in a blind way and you don't know that maybe that woman is used to deliver something that's not good for you, it's not always just sexually transmitted diseases. It's just like the blog I wrote 11 years ago, sexually transmitted demons. The sharing of energy. And to have soul ties, you don't have to have sex with a person. People keep thinking, well, I didn't have sex with her, so I don't have a soul tie. You can get more soul ties without sexual contact at all. Just by being close to a person, by having an emotional relationship with them, an emotional affair with them. I didn't cheat. I didn't do anything. I just went right to the line. But you're having an affair. Call it for what it is. This is what we're doing. Don't try to dress it up. Well, we just pecked with no tongue and we just held each other, whatever. She used her hand on me. I used it. Well, come on. We're very intelligent. We know exactly what we're doing. You can't skirt around the rules, but we will feel the consequences for it. Right? Soul ties. The soul ties. Like Soul Train, right? People all over the world. Strongholds all over the world. And we walking around with these soul ties. We don't even know what we got ourselves into. Because when you, and I don't know how I got on that, but we talk about the telepathic attacks, but that's part of it. We got to talk about all of it. Imagine you have 4 doors around your house, 1 on each side of the house. Usually it's 3 and one side has no door. But let's say you had all 4 doors. In the front door, you spent $500,000 on a security system with locks and cameras and buzzers, infrared things that when they get near the door, before they even knock on the door, it lets you know that somebody's at the front door. And guess what? On the side door, both sides in the back, you take that little screw-in hook that latches on the little eyelet, and that's it, right? We can bypass that and just walk to the side and kick the door in. A lot of us are so guarded in one way and one side that we feel like, okay, I have the shield and I have the armor in front of me. But what happens when the enemy attacks you from the back? What protection do you have? Why do we lie to ourselves? We need to be constantly honing ourselves for the battles that lay ahead, because this is no joke. People say, we always talk about battles and spiritual warfare. Man, I can't be in that mindset, man. I just want to live and have fun. We're all going to die. Let's just have fun, get smashed, get laid, get high, do whatever. And you're going to find out when you're not prepared. It's better to be prepared. That's like yourself on a financial level. Prepare yourself. Even paying to get out of the system. That drains you. You still have to pay to get out of the system. What is your plan? Plan your work and work your plan. Friend there, Desmond Brathwaite, told me that. Plan your work and work your plan. He told me that back in 1998. Old Desmond, I don't know if you're still with us, but if you're hearing this, I didn't forget you telling me that those late nights that we always used to work together on the night shift. I was a talking fool back then. But we have to have some sense of urgency to have a certain direction that we choose, because we got to remember that in the book of our life, it's us who's writing it. I do believe in destiny, or feel that there's a destiny, but I do feel we have a choice. I do feel, yes, and I'm scratching my back with my pen. It's always in. I'm not going to try to be cool and not scratch and sit up here suffering. I ain't going to do that. Only thing I ain't going to do is pass gas and dig my nose. I'll wait for later on for that. But we have a say-so in this, right? And the chapters are empty. We're writing the chapters of our life right now. And there is a destiny, but it's just like when you get arrested, you know, and they say, if you don't have a lawyer, one will be given or assigned to you. You don't want that lawyer that's assigned to you. You don't want that public defender. That free thing they give you, they don't even give a damn. They're just telling you a few little things and have a stack of other people's cases. Can't even pronounce your name right. Right? So if you don't have a perceived and planned reality or a goal, one will be assigned to you, and you're pretty much not going to like it. So this is why you got to keep your mind right on the goal that other people don't see. What are my goals? I know what my goals are. And I want to shoot beyond them. And lots of times we get near the goal and not hit it dead on the target, not because there's something wrong with us. It's just that's the way it is. When we get so close to it, we can still hit it. Just because you missed the boat on what you thought was your reality that you were destined to have doesn't mean that, like, okay, you missed the exit where you had to get off to go to your friend's house to go to the party. You get off at the next exit and come back to that same reality. Maybe it wasn't for you to go down that road, particular road, that you missing the exit saved your life from a head-on collision with a truck. Because also, too, with our telepathic attacks, we have people that want to make us feel regret. You know, you could have been real great if you didn't get in that relationship and you stayed in school. They want to make you feel bad about things. They weren't telling you things back then like, listen, you need to do this so you can better yourself. They'll come back so many decades later on to try to make you feel a sense of regret in your life. And you have to answer these people back in a positive way, nice and positive, and watch them increasingly get pissed off at how positive you are. Well, that was many years ago, and maybe it wasn't for me to really make it, but I have the experience, and there's so many things I'm looking forward to doing right now. And be a doer. Don't sit there and succumb to this negativity that these people give you. You can't do that. No. Because see, people who give you the negativity and the worry like that, that's what they feel in their own life. And they want to share the love that way. And both you sitting on a garbage can with a little Heineken talking about what y'all could have did 40 years ago. What about today? No matter what you go through in the past, no matter what's in your head, the people put in your head, keep your hands moving. Oh, you too fat. You shouldn't go out there and go jogging. You shouldn't be going to the gym. Yeah, I'm too fat, ain't I? I'll be back for the gym in an hour. I'll be back for the gym in 2 hours. Yeah, I'm fat. Now you're saying this sarcastically, maybe in your mind, but you're not letting them work their spells on you, planting seeds in your mind with their telepathic attacks so that you don't know when it was planted because it's so given to you in such a soft manner. And down the road now you start thinking this thing and you think it's you. And it's not you. It was something planted and implanted and imprinted in your mind. Telepathic attacks. We know the government has little ray guns and things they can shoot out. We will also know that we can control what we let in. The argument was said, well, these black men are no good and whatever. Well, I say I have the final control. Women should say the same thing too. Then we won't get in trouble with an unwanted pregnancy. So I'm not going to play the blame game because my zipper should have never came down. You shouldn't play the blame game, but your knees shouldn't have been parting. Like that toll thing when you go with the E-Pass or the Easy Pass or the Sun Pass, depending on what your state, the little thing you put up in your windshield and you prepay it and you get near it, and that thing open right up. That thing shouldn't be opening right up just because he slick talked you and told you he loved you, right? So we both have responsibility with stuff like that. And we have a responsibility to maintain our sanity in this insane world that wants to bring us down to insanity, to kill people, to poison people, to discourage people, to give them telepathic attacks because we had something dumped on us, just like when they say a molester will always go and molest somebody else. Well, when we have these attacks and things put in our head, we don't know how to process it and get it out of us so we don't perpetuate this thing to somebody else. Most of us don't know how to do that. So we just go and dump it on somebody else. Your neighborhood is nice and clean. You got stuff you want to dump, so you go by the black neighborhood and go by one of them roads that have nothing on it and dump everything out. And that's what they do here. They do it in the United States. They do it here in Accra, Ghana. I see it. But it comes back to haunt you because the property values are lowered now from you dumping just around the corner from you. Over time, the esteem, the sense of morale. How is your esteem with you? Have you absorbed enough telepathic attacks that have struck you successfully? Like a controlled demolition on your psyche? It doesn't happen overnight. World Trade Center, people were going to cuss me for that when I was saying that there's something wrong with that situation. And it's some bombs that went. How are you going to have a building 110 stories high come straight down from a little plane hitting it with fuel that couldn't burn anything really anyway? The steel building, come on, man. Controlled demolition right in front of your face. And we still believe that it was a plane that, there was something, a cargo plane, something, but then bombs went off the second before it hit. And it was engineered. And that's how the negative forces come at you. And you think you're nothing. Oh, it ain't going to come at me. I'm just a person who's a cashier in a local supermarket. I'm just a maintenance man overnight for the college, and I'm out by the time the students are taking it. I'm nobody. Yes, you are somebody. Even if right now you feel you're nobody, and even if you never get famous by the whole world standard, and you're a maintenance man or a cashier or a bus driver, you might have a child that you put some good morals into them, a good outlook, and your child might be the cure for cancer or the cure for AIDS. See, so you can't low rate yourself. You might be the gap between a family of addiction, and you might have had addiction. Now you stop that and you had something come out of you. And now, even if it didn't come out of your loins, you can still influence children and people who come under you that benefit from your experiences to tell them what not to do. That's the opposite of a telepathic attack. We have so many of these things that keep going and keep going. We're watching these videos and we want to be thugged out. We see in the Instagram and we see the women hanging out and they got the fake boobs and the fake butt. And a lot of our sisters feel to be beautiful, you have to be that. No, the beauty of our sisters comes from the inside. There's something about them that comes from the inside. You can't tack on more boob and more butt. Let the white women do that. Try to be fraudulent sisters and think they can put, that's like me being a bee and landing on a plastic flower out in the garden, looking for nectar, bzzz, and it's plastic. There's no life in that. And they don't like us with the life that we have in us. They know who we are, and we don't know who we are. And the life force that we have that brings life, when we bring life, we bring life. We bring life with all the amenities right out the box. Kids coming out the womb not too long after, knowing how to dance, picking up on rhythm, reading you and knowing you. You hand them one of these little technology things, hand them an iPhone, they throw the instructions down and they got it. They tell, well, mommy, here, do it this way, do it that way. So why are we hindering them with our telepathic attacks of fear on their life when they're made to be the warriors of the world, male and female, to defeat this system? And we trying to hold them back because we know better. We don't want nothing to happen to you, but something going to happen to all of us unless we try to change this world and refuse to absorb these things that are coming at us. Maybe I'm talking gibberish. I don't know. I'm just flowing right now. I'm going to wrap it down soon. You know what I mean? Exactly, Golden Child. Exactly. MW, how are you? George, Australia. Yes, yes. Oyala, my dear sister. Richard. Yes. We have the lightness, you're right. The good book says we are not to hide our light. But a lot of us are scared to shine our light because we don't have the maturity to know that this is one of the greatest gifts that we can have in this world. Because we'll attract good to us, we'll attract, but also you're going to attract other things. And a lot of us are not up for those battles because we're not strong enough, or we don't feel we're strong enough because we haven't cultivated. Right now, me, this year, I'm stronger, way stronger than I was last year. I'm way stronger than what I was 2 years ago. And I know this because I've been through things that have proven this to me. So what next? Bring it. I'm ready for it. Because once you finish the second grade, you are now a third grader. No matter how much you're scared of the third grade work, you can't go back and just stay doing second grade stuff. When you graduate, there's no going back. You have to move forward, and you have to face the challenges that come with moving forward. On that note, I am going to wrap it down. I'm feeling high right now. I feel like flowing more, but I'll save some for tomorrow night, and I will start earlier. And we'll get into some things, and we'll pick a good title, and we'll roll with it. But I'm in that kind of mood right now, that kind of surreal, you know, unseen world kind of thing, spiritual warfare, telepathic attacks, being ready for the battle, looking for the challenge. Because see, sometimes when you have these obstacles that come your way, let's just take it like a dog that looks like he wants to attack you and he's got the teeth to do so. And you walking down the street and you know you don't want to get bit by a dog. And a little fear hits you and he approaches you and you say, wait a second. This is not going to mess up my day this early in the morning. I'm going to where I have to go. I'm going to do what I have to do. And you turn around and look at the dog. And he moves away and just goes. You have to have that kind of power inside of you. And you got to sharpen your swords by doing the righteous things in your solitude. Okay, here we go. It has another show, 65 Miracle. Yes. Well, she put up a lot of flames and bombs. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, you got to have that thing inside of you. You got to have that thing where not today. You tried me before. You made me waste a day. You made me waste a week. You made me waste 2 years of my life in this stupid ass relationship where you didn't show up as the authentic person that you profess to be. The next one come around, listen, we got to fly straight. This is what we have to do. I am not going to tolerate any less because in this next decade of my life or for the rest of my life, I'm not falling in that hole again. You can come with your games, your attacks. I'm telling you, if you're sincere, you will not be intimidated on what I'm saying. Right? But if you're not sincere, you're not going to like it. It's not like you're bitter. It's not like you're carrying toxicity from the past. No, this is what you're not going to have happen in your life. Daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, every decade, for the rest of your life. For me, I made up my mind with a lot of things, right? Yes, George, it's a pleasure, man. It's just, I'm just vibing. I made the title and kind of went off the title a little bit. You know what I mean? But these are the kind of things I want to do. I'm all for my people and I'm all for what's right. But then there's another side of me that's developing more and more, and I want to share those sides. The real stuff, the stuff that helps you in the middle of the night, the stuff that when you hear somebody else say it, you say, yeah, I was always thinking this, but I thought this, and I thought I was weird for thinking this. No, I'm saying some things off the cuff. Only thing I'm looking down at when I do glance is the chat room. As you can see, the chat room's right there. I don't have nothing else here. Got a rag right there to wipe my head. Got my little Harney and Sons Hot Cinnamon Sunset tin. The best tea in the world. Thank you, Empress LG, for sending that out to me. You know, and because they don't have too much of that out here, but they have things out here that they don't have there, so it's a trade-off. But we got to cut off the fluff of what we're carrying. We're carrying so much in our day. Like I always say, the toxicity and the soul ties, if we can see what people are carrying with them, not that I say you want to run from them. No. If they need help, help them. But they're coming at you fraudulently and trying to hide all of this baggage. And they don't want to work on their baggage. And they want to really bring their baggage to you for you to deal with. And they're not going to do anything. If you want to get with somebody, they should be upfront about everything. Look, these are my hangups. These are my idiosyncrasies. These are my weird sides. Look, if you live 25, 35, 40, 50 years or older you live, you should know your sugar honey iced tea. This is why when you have people who, like say, for example, they're both 75 years old and they both lost their spouse. It's a man and a woman, and they both, within the last year, lost their spouse. It ain't really no sexual vibe going on. Like, I always wanted to get with you, but I couldn't. No. But you know yourself. And those two people can even get together and get married. They might not even have sex. They might, they may not. It shouldn't be about that. Them holding hands will be more orgasmic, knowing that they have somebody that cares for them. And they know that, well, lost, you know, they went on transition, but we have each other. The most nudity he might have seen is when she was changing her bra and her breast got liver spots. And when she takes it off, it falls down to the ground like slinkies. It's not about anti-gravity titties. It's about who you are on the inside. We focus on the body so much, girl. You better not put on the weight because I can't be with you. And that woman that loves you so much that may put on a little weight, you run with this little slim thing out there and you catch hell in your life. Not to say that you're going to catch hell because of her dimensions being a little slimmer. I'm just using examples off the top of my head. Some of your women, you meet that guy and you like big things, don't you? You like them big, and it sways you because this guy's sitting here with a long, thick, whatever. Now you know your man at home may not have all of that. He might have a little inch and a half or something, but he loves you. He gives you stability. He supports you, and you're living a good life because of his shine. But you're so tempted to go run out and feel that thing. And it gets out and finds out everything, and you don't have that stability no more. And you realize the man that loved you that may not have, well, find somebody who loves you and can give you what you want. Don't shortchange yourself on anything that you want, you know, because sometimes, depending on what situation we're in presently, like I always say, don't go food shopping after a trip to the restaurant. You're so full, you're like, I don't need that. I don't need that. Shopping cart, a few little things in there. And the rest of the week now, when you're getting hungry, you're like, I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't buy enough food. So you have to understand the situations you're coming out of and how it influences you. That's like buying a winter coat in the summertime. Don't do it. It's hot. You're going to get a winter coat that's too thin because I don't need this. This is good enough. And when you, damn, I wish. So every time you make a major decision in your life to connect with something or someone or a sale or whatever, you're buying a house, you're buying a car, midlife crisis hits, you want to get that red Corvette because it feels good, but you got 5 kids, man. How they going to fit in that thing? Dumb decision. We got to be in touch with ourselves. Lots of times we lose ourselves. We lose ourselves to a situation. We lose ourselves to a job. We get so much into the job because before that, we were in this great relationship that we thought was great. It was a big disappointment. And we're so hurt. We say, you know what? To hell with relationships. I'm getting into the job. And we get all the awards to put on the wall on how great you were. But you're so stressed from pushing because you feel like you lost out on something major and you push so hard. Now you're dead from a heart attack or a brain aneurysm because you're living so imbalanced. The best thing you can do with all of these things is to let go. There was a book I remember, The Joy of Letting Go. I don't know what it was about, but I used to love that title. Even, I think it was back in the 70s. And I was like, there's something about that title, The Joy of Letting Go. Do you really have to hold on to this title? And I got to hold on to this. And this is who I am. And you're buried below all of these accomplishments and the statuses of the world that they adorn you with. And you don't even know your damn self anymore. Put on a t-shirt and some jeans, some slippers if your weather permits it. Leave your cell phone and your wallet at home. Don't go. Put some dollars in your pocket. Of course, you might see a piece of fruit you want to get, but take a walk. Are you scared to do that? Maybe you'll get to know yourself more. Maybe lots of times we lose ourselves. I know a lot of young ladies and men, but mostly young ladies who, and when I say young ladies, I mean the whole range. If you 85 to me, I'm going to call you young lady. Everybody's a young lady. That's right, in my book, because it's not about the chronological age of the body. It's the energy on the inside. And I know a lot of young ladies who they're coming out of relationships, decade-long relationships. Like, this little short stuff we cry over when we're younger, like 2 years. And I was with you for 6 months. That's just a warm-up. Imagine being with somebody for 30 years and you realize you don't even know who they are. And you discover some things about them, whether they're down low, whether they had 2 or 3 families around the corner, down the block, and you didn't know about it. They were living double and triple lives. They had a secret addiction that they were doing, and that's why all the money was disappearing. And you realize you had to get away from this person. And when you realize, and people applaud and say, oh, girl, you did good. You did good. You got away from them. But guess what? You were so much into this person or the facade that they put up that you forgot who you are. Do you know who you really are? Just like back in the day, I don't know if they still do it right now. I think it was back in the 70s. I always talk about the 70s. I love the 70s. Really and truly, I love the time that I'm in now. But people say, well, if you can go back to the 70s, would you go? Yeah. You make me back that age. With the knowledge I have now, I will come up a whole different way. I don't want to go back there and be dumb and be dumbed down and not know. Send me back with the knowledge of what I have now. Trust me. What? Well, they should have knocked me off if I do the things that I do if I started back at that time. But lots of times we lose ourselves. We don't know who we are. That's right, sweet D. The sooner the better, because it's better that you let it go at 15 years than 20 or 25. And never feel bad for what we say is time lost. It was wisdom gained. It was wisdom gained, right? Where you never fall back into that thing again. And the wisdom that you gain, you can help somebody else with. You can share it with them. And the joy comes from what you share with them, stop them from falling into a trap. But we feel devastated lots of times when we don't know ourselves anymore because we gave it up to a relationship or we gave it up to a job, and we gave it up to the job because we had a relationship, and we get so caught up. When you see somebody motivated in something, it's not always positive now. I'm not trying to be negative, but when you see somebody so gung-ho all the time in something, maybe where they're driven and positive and have a goal, but it may be where they're making up for something they felt that they lost back in the prior life. Not prior life, or prior lifetime, I'm saying their earlier life. so to say, right? There's certain things that have affected me young that were innocent, but it affected me. There's some things that affected me that weren't so innocent. Like when my older cousin had me, tasting the coochie at 5 years old, a female, beautiful woman too, messed my head up. I didn't complain. But there are things that have affected us that we think are mild. And they really have. Like me growing up as an only child, even though I have an older brother, 11 years older than me, who was always on drugs. I yearned for that relationship. So I gravitated toward families that had lots of sisters and brothers because I loved to see the interaction, because I wanted that and never had that. The times he wasn't high or out of his mind and I had that, it was so sweet to me. I love my brother very much, but that's what took. So now, how do I deal with that? I have my family here. Technology has afforded me in a good way that here, the interactions and the love and the things we talk about. So there's always a way, an alternative way to get what it is that you need. Don't think that your life is over. Even when you get to a certain age, chronological age, sometimes, this is never going to happen. Or don't say that. You can find love at any age. I'm not going to lie to you and say something to pump you up. The whole thing, like, when they were saying with Kevin Samuels and how he was coming at women too hard and saying you can't find love. Yeah, you can find love. But then again, I understand the mindset that he was in, aside from the delivery, to say, hey, let's get on it. Let's not make no mistakes. Let's check out who we're dealing with. Let's have our standards high. Let's be the best version of ourselves that we can be. Now, see, I understand that, right? You take something from that. We all need that fatherly and motherly, but it's something about a man telling his children, male and female, this is life. This is what needs to be done. It's not just about money, but you need to be able to sustain yourself for the rest of your life. And if you get with somebody who is motivated to do better. What is wrong with that? That's what I take from it, right? That there's so many people who don't have that and they need that. That part of it. Because we'd be better off for it. I mean, I leapfrogging and all kind of little flings and kinky relationships and open relationships back in the day. And I'm like, man, if I could have scraped up all that time back and put it in a nice pile, I would have had enough time to have accomplished some more. But then again, I couldn't talk like this if I didn't go through those things either. Because you can't get this stuff from a book. You can't. It's experience. Because I tell you, it's not like I have something written down like, okay, I'm reading from this. No. It's just talk right off the hip. Like I said, freestyle all the time, I looked at the screen and I got scared for a second. I said, who is that over there? The clip that I played is there and it's frozen. It looked like it was somebody who was trying to come in on the show. I'm like, oh, man. It's just like this. You can't see it, but I have the table here with different modules up and they have their own stands and everything. And the way this computer is up, this laptop is up real high, and the angle of it, I had cut the lights out and went into the bedroom. Because like I said, this is a temporary apartment, right? And I have the curtains there, the drapes, and there's lights outside that shine in. So I came back out. I thought that I had something on the stove. I went to check that. And it looked like a man standing there. I was like, whoa, it was playing tricks on me. Man, it would have been something because I ain't have a stitch on. We would have been fighting up in here. As you all know, I don't care about that. Yeah, so I'm going to wrap this down. I'm going to go and get some sleep. I hope maybe in the replay or if there's something you missed or maybe my little bit of ramblings that maybe somebody got something from it. It's like an old man who has a garage sale, right? And you go in that garage sale and you're like, okay, this old 1943, this old 1968, that I don't want that. But bingo, you see this lamp that has not been polished and the wires are broken. You're like, I can replace the wires and I can polish it up. It's brass. Oh, look at the top of it. It's Tiffany. How much you want for that? Oh, just give me $25. I'm sick of that lamp. My brother-in-law, who's a piece of crap, he gave it to me. I don't want that. $25? Don't you know that lamp goes for like $1,500? It's a deal. So when people talk, let them flow. Listen to them, especially if they're speaking some sense. Maybe there's that one thing you can get out of the garage sale of their life that they have to offer to you that's very valuable to you. There are people that I've heard on trains in New York City going to school or going to work, and they just blah, 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 and they bust out with one sentence that's so profound, like, oh, they speaking to me. People look at them like a nutcase, and pretty much they are. But that one sentence that came to the surface from when they had sense back in the day, it hit me so hard. Wow, that was deep. So always look out for the signs. You're traveling on a journey, whether you like it or not, or whether you know it or not. We are moving forward. Some of us regress and fall backward, but even we're just moving forward backwards, but we're moving. So make sure that you are able to keep your mind clear from these telepathic attacks and that your mind is right. Because if your mind is not right, you're not going to live your life at full capacity. It's not going to happen. You know, it's like going on a job and you say, well, I got this job, it pays me well. And you have another person who, in actuality, they have their own business. But then, you know, when you have your own business, you've got to pay your own taxes quarterly. There's certain things you have to look out for. There's certain things. And it's like the person who works on the job says, I don't have to worry about that stuff. But the person that has their own business can manipulate righteously and legally where they pay less tax and they get more benefits and whatever. So when you do your own thing, when you do your own cooking, when you do everything that you can do without paying somebody to do it for you, you get by easier, you save, it's more efficient, and you're more connected. And that goes for the matters of the heart and the mind and your spirit. Seek your own meditation out. Be still, learn yourself, and don't lie to yourself. A lot of us lie to ourselves. If I'm not going to do something, I'm not going to do it. I'm like, yo, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. Oh my God, he's so insulting. I'm not going to go along to get along, just to be nice. I'm not going to waste my energy. You know what I mean? Don't let people come around you and bogart you and force you into activities that they want to do for their benefit, which if you're nice, you will help them out. Sure, all the time. But we have these energy vampires that come and suck from you the wrong way, right? They come and suck from you and you find yourself drained and lethargic, and it's like they just took the day away. And it's not even halfway through the day, but since that early enthusiasm was taken away from you, it's like, the day is gone. Because you feel that way. Because you want to build that energy back up again. When you come out the gate, meaning that bed, that first hour and a half, that first 2 hours of your day, you better know from the night before, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'd like to do. Let me get my rest so I can come out the box and do what I have to do. You see? So don't let people take that from you. Keep your phone off if you have to. And you get up and you have yourself to yourself. First, I learned that when I was going to the gym. I used to train different times of the day, 24/7, you know, depending on my schedule. There are times I trained in the morning time, you know, before work, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. There are times I train in the afternoon or the evening after work. You're 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. There are times I've trained 2 and 3 in the morning. There are times I've trained in the gym and never left the gym. I train early and late, and they lock me in the gym so I can get up and train early and not have to do the commute from Queens into Manhattan when I trained in Manhattan. And the owner told me, he said, listen, these gates are locked. There's a fire in here. You're toast. I said, I don't care. I was so fanatical in what I was doing. I said, I don't care. It ain't going to happen, but I don't care. I want to be here. I want to get that extra 2 hours of sleep that I couldn't get because of the commute, or actually 3 hours of sleep. That was foolishness, right? But the bottom line is I was dedicated, but it was foolish, right? But I knew what I had to do, and I knew what I had to stay away from. You know your weaknesses. You know what it is that gets you going into whatever it is that you like to do that will take away from you. You can indulge in your stuff, but don't let it rule you. There's a time to play, and there's a time to be serious. You have to. You see what I mean? And it's very important that you maintain that. But anyway, whoa, how long have I been here chatting with my family? Let me see. I don't even see the screen no more. That is 1 hour and 35 minutes. For me right now, it's 4:05, so you can understand I'm 4 hours ahead of the East Coast, and the East Coast has got to be 12:05, And you're probably over there saying, oh, it's late. It's 12:05. Well, you want to switch with me? It's 4:05. But I don't have to get up like I did earlier, but I will get up. But it's 4:05. And if I went to bed now, I'm getting up at 12:05. I'm staying in. Look, I might get to bed about 4:30. So I'm staying in the bed till 12:30. Even if I wake up at 9 o'clock, I'll be right there. I'm not getting up out this bed. I'm getting all my rest, my quiet time, right? I ain't going to touch no phone until that time. Maybe I'll sneak and do something tonight and spread a few links or whatever. But it's been wonderful. It's been enjoyable as always. And I owe all of you a big check because this has been therapeutic and you've been my psychiatrist. So I just dumped some stuff on you. Hopefully you can find some wisdom between everything. And like I said, it's all love. And I'm going to turn it right now. Leave your comments. Hit LANCESCURV.com. I'll put this on LANCESCURV.com another time. But anything that you miss, you go to the website, you'll be able to see it there, right? YouTube plays funny games with me. And also, if you go to the website, there are videos that I will put up that I can't put on YouTube for obvious reasons. So I'm slick with them and they're mad at me. So I probably lost another 50 subscribers tonight because they've been peeling off my subscribers. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. Notifications do not go out. It's rare when it does. So, you know, even unsubscribe and resubscribe back because they might have you on some kind of targeted list to remove you because they're really sucking down the channel big time. So no matter what, we'll be on LANCESCURV.com, and no matter what, we'll always have our videos and content there independent of YouTube. On that note, I'm going to make sure to jump into bed. I want you all to have a wonderful evening and just know that old SCURV loves you. And we'll be back tomorrow night and probably a little earlier. And Hope Rice. Oh, Hope, you coming on in. Yeah, you go back and watch. Yeah. See, that's like back in the day when you show up at a party and you show up at the party late and everybody got their coats on. They get ready to leave. They got the big aluminum foil with the little styrofoam plates. Baby, you done missed a big party. Man, you done missed a nice party. Everybody walking out, you're like, and there's one drunk fool still trying to hold on to the party to dance. You go in there and try to say, come on back in, dance with me. No, girl, I gotta go inside. I gotta go to work tomorrow. Hope came in all late, but I still love you, sweetheart. I still love you. You're the only rice I F's with, right? No brown rice, no black rice, no white rice, no Chinese rice, only Hope Rice. And all of you, I love you all. I'm sorry I didn't call all your names. I was in a zone. I was ranting, and I hope it made sense. But anyway, much love to you all, and I will see you tomorrow. And I'll drop some content from early. There's a few little short things I wanted to talk about. And Mr. Political, he was supposed to do something tonight with me, but he didn't. But I'll catch him tomorrow. Anyway, much love to you all. Bye-bye.
I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm trying to do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Oh, yes, sir. I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they say. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Can't be a real nigga, might get you canceled. Fuck the whole system, need the shit dismantled. Coppers treat a nigga like the utmost wanted. Trying to rule the block, but don't know what goes on it. News got a story with a new take on me. Carrying out the window with the screw face on me. But I know that God love me when my blunt burn. 95 degrees and I can't get sunburn. Wonder when your government will make me legal. Burn the whole city if I can't be equal. Get off my dick, please, Brad, I earned that. 400 years, how you still ain't learned? I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm trying to do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Oh, yes, sir. I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they say. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out.
Shout out to the crackers trying to gentrify the genre. Tell them free my niggas, middle finger to your honor. In the days coming down the seconds on the timer. Goofy niggas still trying to purchase that designer. About to buy a chopper, learn to grow my own food. Cause I don't like the look they give me in the Whole Foods. And when you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. But it ain't on me now, I'm limping cause my dick heavy. But ain't shit sweet, niggas think we thin. My whole attitude on MC Ren. It's my neighborhood now, Bob, I bought that. 400 years, how you still ain't caught that? I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm trying to do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Yes, sir. I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they say.
Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out.
And eating flesh raw, till God sent Moses to civilize him and teach him the law. Then following Marco Polo, an explorer, he gained entry into Asia and Africa. From China, he took silk and gunpowder. From India, he took jute, manganese, and rubber. He raped Africa of her diamonds and her gold. From the Mideast, he took barrels of oil untold, raping, robbing, and murdering everything in his path. The whole black world has tasted of the white man's wrath. So, my friend, it's not hard to tell. A white man's heaven is a black man's hell. America, we were living in the east. By the Nile River, we were living in luxury, enjoying freedom, justice, and equality. We wore silken robes, slippers of gold. We were the wealthiest and the wisest people, I'm told. Now we are the poorest of the poor. Nobody wants us at their door. So, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven, black man hell. When the white man came to America, he told the Indian, I am your white brother. He said, red man, I'll treat you the best. Yet and still he pushed the Indian further west with his white woman and fire water. Tricks and lies, he stole America. The original owner of this nation is cooped up on a reservation. So, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven, black man hell. He needed someone to work the land. His back was too weak. He needed you, black man, so he commissioned Sir John Hawkins to commit the world's most grievous sin, to take a man who's born to be free and bring him down to slavery, to sell a man as merchandise. On his body put a price. Oh, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is a black man hell.